Going Postal Publishing and Christopher Chapman present the Going Postal Cast, your source for weekly podcast fiction from author Christopher Chapman. For more information, be sure to check out www.goingpostalpublishing.com. You can also email the author at goingpostalpublishing@gmail.com. This podcast is not suitable for children. There is lots of violence, gore, blood, and the occasional F-bomb, as well as other naughty words that your mother told you she will wash your mouth out with soap for. And now, enjoy the story, or whatever nonsense I'm about to spew at you. Hello once again, this is author Christopher Chapman, and I am back for another episode of the Going Postal Cast. Now, after last week's meet and greet episode in which I basically talked for 20 minutes about my background in podcasting, my background in writing, and just rambling on about nonsense for however long, you are actually going to get a story today. Today's story is going to be about 40 minutes long, so buckle your seatbelts and get ready for a ride. So, I would just like to talk a little bit about last week's episode, and I would like to say that I am very thrilled by the response I got. I was shocked by the amount of subscribers that I've already seen for the Going Postal Cast. I kind of figured I was going to have 3, 4, 5, because I basically was able to get a little bit of word out on Twitter, a little bit out on Facebook, but I never expected to see the amount of subscribers right away in week 1 that I did. So thank all of you who are already listening, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm onto something here. It makes me feel like I'm working towards something. Now, as far as the book goes, Incarceration, I gotta pimp that out a little bit before I get into the story. Incarceration is up for pre-sale currently. It will be done with the pre-sale in just actually a few days after you hear this episode. I am anticipating it being available on every platform by this coming Friday. It'll probably actually be available on Amazon as a Kindle book by the time this episode is on iTunes. As far as the iTunes goes, that might be up, but it might not. It has been submitted to Apple. I'm still waiting on that. It's been submitted to Barnes & Noble for the Nook store. I'm still waiting to hear something about that as well. The book is printed. The book is ready to ship. I'm just building up a few pre-orders before I start the shipping process, and it should be available on Amazon.com as an actual physical book within the coming weeks. So be sure to look out for that if that's the route you want to go. Of course, if you want an actual signed edition of the book, you can get that directly from the store on goingpostalpublishing.com. Now, one thing I failed to mention, I believe in last week's episode, was about contacting me. Send me emails, okay? If you want to send me a question, a comment, a cheap shot, you can do so by sending an email to goingpostalpublishing@gmail.com. And if you want to hear your voice on an episode of the Going Postal Cast, send me some kind of MP3 file that you recorded yourself, and I will play it if the question or the comment or even the cheap shot is good. So now let's get into today's story. I am giving you the full story it's a story called The First Zombie. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh God, another zombie story. Oh, they're going to be out going, brains, brains. No, that's not what this story is. I'm going to give you a little background about this story. This story is actually less than a year old. The idea actually came from my girlfriend, Samantha. She said to me one day, I don't like zombie stories. I hate zombie stories. To be honest with you, she kind of has this anti-zombie thing where if she has a dream about zombies or if you mention zombies, it gets kind of hairy. So, but back to what I was saying. So she was saying, I don't like zombies. I don't like the way they just automatically become zombies once they die, or this, hell filling up and then they come back as zombies. And she says to me, what if the process took longer? Okay, of course, me being me, that automatically gave me a story idea. Within the next, I want to say about 3-4 days, I wrote a 7,000 some odd word short story called The First Zombie that basically is about one guy turning into a zombie and exploring that. And that is actually what you're going to hear next. Now, little bit of a warning, the audio quality on this story is not what you'd expect. What you hear now, I recorded this actually a few months ago when I was before my newest son was born, as I was trying to get as much stuff done before he was born and getting it all prepared so I could have stuff for the podcast when it came time. What ended up happening was I recorded it and, well, the microphone wasn't the greatest microphone in the world. I have since upgraded the microphone and you get the quality you hear now. And when next week comes around and we start on incarceration, you're going to hear better quality. This was done with a cheap microphone, a cheap-ass microphone, and so I apologize for the quality of this particular story, but you will be able to download the full short story in ebook form, whatever your ebook preference is, off of the website for free. That's right, free. I am giving this one away. You do not have to pay for this one at all. Now, just so you know, it's my way of saying, hey, I believe in the story enough where I'm going to give it away and you can still have it and you will have the audio version that you can listen to today. So we're 6 minutes in. This episode's already going to be around an hour, so I'm going to get out of here and I'll be back after the story has aired to tie things up and get out of here. So this is The First Zombie by Christopher Chapman. I woke up dead this morning. I always knew that I would someday die. I just never thought that it would be my job that killed me. I'd always been told that when you die, you either went to heaven or hell. Now I know there is a third option. When I woke up this morning, I was surprised to find my finger lying next to me on my pillow. I knew it was mine because my wedding band was still on it. The gold glistened against the pale, dead skin of the finger. I initially thought that somebody, maybe my wife, had cut the finger off. Horrified, I lifted my hand and saw the jagged skin where it appeared to have just simply fallen off. There was no blood. The skin and bone where it had fallen off looked similar to that of a tree that had rotted from the inside out. I wondered what could have caused my finger to fall off. I remembered that something had touched my finger in the exact spot where it had rotted off just a day earlier. My heart raced, or it should have, but I no longer had a pulse. I checked my wrist, as well as my neck, but there was nothing. My heart had stopped. I was dead. How I'm writing this, I don't know. All I know is that I am no longer the man I was when I went to bed last night, and am less of the man that I woke up as this morning. I'm changing. I can feel it. What I'm changing into, I cannot honestly say. Perhaps my death is nothing more than my spirit moving on, and I'm like Bruce Willis in that one movie. Maybe this is all just a dream, and I'll soon wake up and feel relieved. It's been hard keeping this from my wife. Stacy thinks that I have some kind of weird flu that makes my body temperature drop instead of rise. "You look so pale," she said to me as I hurried to hide the dismembered finger. I slid it into my pillowcase and turned to her, holding the hand behind my back. "Your skin is as white as I've ever seen it." She placed a hand against my cheek. "Ooh, and so cold. How do you feel?" "I felt better," I said honestly. I saw no point in lying about that. I might be a little sick. She looked at me for a few seconds with an expression that could only be concern. Finally she said, "I think you should stay home from work today." "You know I can't do that," I told her.